Hey everyone, welcome back. Well, if you've watched enough of my videos, you will know that I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I like conserving things that are worthy of conservation, and I do think etiquette is one of those things. Some people will say etiquette is antiquated, it's restrictive, it's pretentious, but I think people who have that opinion don't really know what etiquette is about. They have maybe sort of a caricature in their minds, maybe someone with books in their heads walking around for hours, being told off by a very mean tutor like in My Fair Lady. That is not the case. I think etiquette is a true valuable thing because not only does it inspire self-awareness and self-control and discipline, not only does it create a better environment where people are gentler, kinder, more in tune with each other's feelings and expectations, but it is also the easiest, most effective, and less expensive, if not free, way of being elegant, sophisticated, and refined. I actually touched upon this point in my first video of 2023, so I'll link it here if you want to watch it. But today we're going a little bit deeper and we will explore the etiquette rules that are as relevant as ever. Number one is knowing your way around a dinner table. I think this has two aspects to it. The first one being more social. So if you're sharing a meal with other people, you want that experience to be pleasant. You want people to enjoy being there eating with you. This means you're not going to chew with your mouth open. You're not going to take enormous bites of food or steal food from other people's plates. You're not going to clean your teeth at the table. You're not leaving your phone on the table. You're not going to announce to everyone that you're going to the bathroom. Be simple, I'll be right back, or excuse me for a moment will suffice. You're not going to be snapping your fingers around trying to get the waiter's attention, and you're going to wait until everybody's food gets to the table before you start eating. These are just basic gestures that kind of make any experience bearable. It's the least you could do, and it's not really that hard to implement to your life. Which takes me to the second aspect that is a little bit more personal. So these are gestures and actions that not necessarily affect other people's experience, but it does affect your image and your reflection. So if you want to make an impression, if maybe you are at a business dinner or at a first date and you want to sort of transmit a little bit of a more elevated, more cultured, more polished behavior, these are great ones to follow. For instance, how to hold a wine glass properly, which hands to use for your fork and your knife, placing your napkin on your lap during the whole meal, not putting your cutlery back on the table after you've used it, letting the man serve you. I know this is a little bit polarizing, but it is an etiquette rule. You don't have to follow it if you don't want to. I'm just telling you how it is. It makes you seem more at ease with yourself, more confident, more like you know what you're doing. It always reminds me of that scene in Titanic when Jack goes to dinner and he sees all of these forks and knives and he doesn't know what to do, gets all flustered, loses his self-confidence. And I can't help but think that if he had just brushed up on his etiquette before dinner, he would have gotten along with everyone at the table. The captain probably would have saved him a little spot in a lifeboat, and he might have survived happily ever after with Rose instead of not even getting an inch off that door. We'll never know. Rule number 2 is to not expose yourself. Be it in the virtual or physical reality, it's something that is just missing, which I think is what makes it so much more appealing to some of us, leading that more subdued, more quiet, more private life that keeps people wondering. It's so much more chic. A few rules of thumb. Number 1, pay attention to maybe the way you move your body so that you don't expose body parts that may be too revealing. Pay attention to how you get in and out of a car, maybe how you bend down to pick something up that fell on the floor, maybe covering your cleavage if you are, moving around. You don't want to flash anyone. It's also important to be wise with what you choose to share in conversations. I saw this post on Pinterest that was was really cool. It was kind of old, so I think it's from those vintage etiquette books. And I thought it was so interesting because it's 9 things you do not want to talk about or gossip about with other people. Age, wealth, family quarrels, religion, health problems, love affairs, gifts, honor, and shame. It sounded so wise. I saved it on my phone. I'm trying to memorize it because it does seem like it makes a lot of sense. And then you want to be mindful of not oversharing on social media. This sounds so hard because I guess with the whole influencer thing, we kind of got the idea that this is a normal thing to always be posting, always be telling people, always be showing off. But we tend to forget that influencers are paid to do these things, so they will usually kind of push a product or something, an action, an activity just to fit into that campaign. And it is all curated, it is all edited, it is all calculated to the minimal detail to sort of portray an image. So we're not seeing true reality from influencers. And then there are all of those cases of doxing, of trolling, of bullying, of hacking. I mean, you don't need that in your life. You have enough problems. So keep a bit of an air of mystique, of, oh, I wonder what she's doing today. You don't have to share everything. And the previous point pairs really well with this one. If you have unorthodox or possibly polarizing opinions, either keep them to yourself or to the people you confide in and you know you're comfortable with speaking, or find a way of expressing these opinions in a thoughtful, articulate manner. The way I see people being so nice in real life and so mean on social media is sort of evidence not of their poor character or their mean spirit, but of the fact that we kind of get that trigger reaction, that kind of validation feeling from just posting an opinion online and feeling like we checked the box and not really caring about what other people will think or how they will feel. Not talking about being oversensitive or policing yourself too much, being too politically correct, but you do have to be mindful. Just to give you an example, I have a pet peeve: dogs and strollers. I know a lot of people don't see a problem with this, and a few pups do need a stroller to get around. But there was this one time I went to dinner, we were talking about pet peeves, and I just blurted out, I get freaked out about dogs and strollers. And lo and behold, at our table there was a couple that walked their dog on a stroller. They felt the need to explain that their dog was older, he had gone through multiple surgeries, he couldn't walk properly anymore, he was like part of the family. I could see that it had made them feel not only like they had to explain themselves, but that they were a little bit hurt, a little bit offended. So something that I thought would be a normal opinion that everybody would hold cast a shadow on a perfectly lovely dinner because of my big mouth. So take it from me, think before speaking. Rule number 4 is to be discreet with your devices. I have been seeing so much of this lately and it bothers me. It really bothers me. People who don't know how to be discreet with their technology, listening to music without headphones while commuting. Oh, I want to scream. Or even when they're in the privacy of their own homes, just blasting that music at an unacceptable volume, speaking really loudly on phone calls for everyone else to hear. Is so awkward, so awkward. Other attitudes that I think we can incorporate is kind of taking out your earpods, your headphones when you're talking to someone just so that they know that they have your full attention. Not secretly filming or taking pictures where you're not supposed to. Sometimes I go to concerts and they ask at the beginning of the concert, you're not allowed to film this, you're not allowed to take pictures, and the person is like under a hat or between chairs trying to get a snippet that's probably going to look like crap, and they're probably never gonna use that picture or movie, but they're just, it's a compulsion. And please, 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 please do not take selfies in inappropriate places. Rule number 5 are small gestures that make a difference. These are just common kindness actions that anyone with the least bit of compassion and social skills should follow, but it's never too much. Reminding and doing a little recap, so there you go. Picking something up from the floor for someone who dropped it, either if they realized it or not. Letting people through before you, especially if they're elderly, especially if it is a pregnant lady, if it's someone holding a small child in their arms, or people with disabilities or who clearly are having a hard time moving around. Just let them through. Say good morning, thank you, how are you? React with kindness when it is kind of unexpected. Seems obvious, but these are the tiny actions that can actually make someone's day a little bit brighter, make someone's humor a little bit more positive. You want to be that actor of change. Rule number 6, go the extra mile. God willing, you will live a long, happy life, which gives you a lot of time to learn lesser known etiquette rules. I know it might seem a little bit daunting, but I just find it so interesting as a subject, and I always just want to sort of brush up on my etiquette, learn new things, and I always find something interesting. How to put a coat on properly, how to eat a croissant the right way, never arranging a men's tie or applying makeup in public, feeling free to eat asparagus and artichokes with your hands if they are entrees, learning the etiquette of gift giving and of hostessing. All of these things will sort of elevate your day-to-day life and will always make people admire your poise, your behavior, your self-control, and the way you treat them. And I also think it is very important, if you are going abroad, if you're traveling, to learn etiquette rules from different places. I'm not sure if I told you this story before, but just to give you a cautionary tale. First time I went to Rome, it was before I moved to Italy, so I didn't really know how they operated. We went to this restaurant in Rome, a really tiny kind of traditional restaurant, a lot of locals, and I ordered a shrimp pasta. Being from Brazil, a place where we put cheese on every pasta dish, I asked for Parmesan. The restaurant went silent. The waiter came with a little plate of Parmesan, almost as if I had asked him to bring me a gun to kill myself. He placed it on the table, gave me a sort of, you do what you think you have to do, I'm not responsible for this in any way kind of look. And then as he walked to the kitchen, I could hear the whispering and the laughs, and everybody was shocked that I had asked for Parmesan with a shrimp pasta. I was just mortified. So make sure you do your little research, make sure to observe the locals and how they react and kind of follow their lead. And after you come back from your trip, if you've learned any of these etiquette rules like I'm doing now, share it. Share with friends that might be going to the same place afterwards that maybe don't know about these rules, and we'll all have a better time at our travels. This is it, everyone. Hopefully you found this useful. And just a little parenthesis, I'm not an expert. Nobody died and made me Emily Post. I'm just passionate about this subject because I feel like it's a dying art. I think people don't give it its due value, but it does make everyone's life more balanced, more harmonious, more respectable. However, given that I'm not an expert, I will make sure to leave linked down in the description box the handles and profiles of a few etiquette experts that have amazing content and information to share. I follow them religiously and their tips are precious, so make sure you follow them as well. Let me know in the comments if you have any underrated etiquette rules that you would like to share, or maybe some etiquette rules from the country you're from, and we'll see each other again next time. Bye bye.